All right, Mike, this is a big one.
This is a big one. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. I think you've had your ticket for this movie for over a year.
The war is over, and you know I suck with names, but I think it's Odysseus. He's trying to make the trek back to home, the trek back to Ithaca.
The main character in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is actually the sound.
This movie might be nominated for 12, 14 Oscar nominations.
I found the audio in this movie to be a complete and total affront to the senses.
That is such bullshit. Get the hell out of here.
The Odyssey is a foul, smelly, noxious fart.
That is unbelievable. I don't know if I buy it.
Welcome to Hate to See It with Mike and Sid, the talk show where we bring you a new movie review each week. I'm Mike.
Now I'm Sid.
We're a small channel, so you'd really help us out by hitting that like button, subscribing to our channel, and dropping a comment with your feedback. We also encourage you to take advantage of the chapters feature so you can skip right to whichever segment in this episode interests you the most. With that out of the way, how's it going, Sid?
I just watched an amazing game between England and France for third place. It's going well. England won, so all is well for me. What about you, Mike?
Well, there's some pretty heavy thunderstorms going on by me. There's some lightning and thunder and heavy rain, so hopefully I don't have a power outage during this recording.
Well, let's hope not, and let's hope the World Cup finals tomorrow goes off without any issues. You got the smoke there, you got potential rain. I don't know why they picked New York, New Jersey for this finale. They weren't thinking.
It's in New Jersey.
Don't they call it New York, New Jersey?
Yeah, and they shouldn't.
But that's what it's called. Let's just be correct.
Saying
Let's just
so.
let's give the viewers the truth, the facts.
Mm.
All right, Mike, this is a big one.
This is a big one. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. I think you've had your ticket for this movie for over a year.
I sure have. I'll talk more about that a little later.
And I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty in-depth conversation. At least it will be from my end, and I'm sure it will be from your end as well. So why don't we just get right into things?
Sure. What's first? I forget.
Cast question.
All right. And so this is where you and I go 2 versus 1, right?
Yep, against our friend Cass. He's going to ask us a trivia question that is somehow relevant to the movie that we're reviewing. It's up to him to decide what the question is, and he's going to present it to us. I'll share it in a moment, and you and I will discuss it and see if we can get it right.
Let's do it.
What's up, everybody? It's Cass from Throwbacks with Detective-Drome, and you know what time it is here on Hate to See It with Mike and Sid. It's time for Cass Question. Now, I've been lobbing them in lately, been throwing some softballs. Today, we got another hard one. Here we go. The ancient city of Troy was located in which of the following modern-day countries? Is it A, Albania, B, Iran, C, Iraq, or D, Turkey?
All right. I have a feeling you might know this one. Do you?
I should know it. Isn't it in New York? Aren't Troy and Ithaca both in New York?
Oh, that's true, which is so strange because those two cities are only, I think they're only a 3-hour drive apart from one another.
Yeah, it's not a 10-year journey, just like the
Right.
movie.
It's so strange that it took 10
It
years.
is.
But do you have any idea?
Let's see. I think I took out Iran from the equation. Was that, and I think I took out Iraq. Were those 2 options?
They were.
So that leaves us with what?
Well, I could just tell you the one that I remember is the one that I'm like 90% sure because I was on Wikipedia a lot after I saw the movie and I'm pretty sure Troy is in modern day Turkey. Like I'm over 90% sure of that.
So Troy was there, and what was the next choice? There's one more choice.
I forget, there was Iran, Iraq.
Turkey.
Should we go back and take a look?
No, it's all right. But yeah, my guess would have been Turkey as well. So I
Okay.
think we're both on the same page. He says it's a hard one. So
Yeah,
let's
well, it probably is a hard one, but I was very interested in all this stuff after watching the
True.
movie and looking up a lot of stuff on Wikipedia. So, and I did not cheat, swear to God. Let's
And if you did cheat, I don't care because it's not you versus I this time.
That's true. It's us versus cast.
All right.
That might be a violation of Zeus's law, though. But
Well said.
yeah, all right. Let's see what the answer is.
And the answer to that question is D, Turkey. The ancient city of Troy is located in modern-day Turkey. If you didn't know the answer to that, the only Trojans you ever heard of are probably condoms and computer viruses, and you probably don't even remember the computer virus. Maximus, Mephisto, back to you.
Mephisto, that's right.
All right. Well, thanks, cast.
That was a good one.
He always has some funny commentary at the end.
He sure does. I feel like you and I need to come up with some commentary throwback right at him because
Man,
he is Mr. Throwback at the Technodrome.
remember back in the day, you could just download a Linkin Park MP3 and you would just brick your family computer.
Yes, fun times.
Those were fun times.
All right, bro.
Okay.
Let's get into it. I think now we're up 2-1, but let's get into our what we're going to here to discuss. Right, the movie.
Yeah, I think you and I discussed before we recorded that we would not do initial reactions.
Yeah,
Is
no
that
initial
okay?
reactions. Let's save some
I
time.
think we could get right into it. So that would mean it is time for Hate to See It.
Wait, no, not yet. 60-second setup.
My bad. It
No
is time
worries.
for the 60-second setup. I knew I was forgetting something.
All right, let me put my clock there on this side so I can look at it while I'm talking and make sure I can do it. All right, 60 seconds. Here we go. So this week we're reviewing the Odyssey, the latest adaptation of Homer's legendary epic. So this time Christopher Nolan is back. It's his next saga after Oppenheimer, and the movie takes place after the Trojan War is over. So the war is over, and you know I suck with names, but I think it's Odysseus. He's trying to make the trek back to home, the trek back to Ithaca. And how much time do I got? But anyway, he's trying to go back home to see his daughter, not daughter, wow, his wife and his son. But a lot of turmoils happen. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be quite the journey. And while this is happening, his wife is trying to stop a suitor from taking her place in marriage. So that's 60 seconds or less. I think I did it. Hopefully.
Excellent job, Sid. I mean, I'm a little concerned though. You said you have a problem with names, and there are some tricky names.
They are. It's going to
But
be
if you have a
fun.
problem with Odysseus, there's going to be some problems if you
Yeah,
can't get the main character.
that's true. That's the easiest one. But like, I was gonna name their other, I was gonna name the wife's name, which is
Penelope,
Penelope. But the son is the trouble one for me.
Telemachus,
Yeah,
or maybe it's
Telemachus.
Telemachus, but whatever. Yeah,
Telemachus. It is
Telemachus. That's
Telemachus.
spelled the same way.
Yeah, but that one might
Uh,
be a little challenge for me during
Antinous
this
is the
interview.
suitor. We'll go
Yes,
over all the characters, I'm
we
sure.
sure will. But Mike, like you said, let's get into our hate to see it's.
That's right. Hate to see it. Where we each give two things that we disliked about the movie. Uh, should I go first, or should
You
you go
go.
first?
I
All
did a
right.
lot of talking. I need my breath.
I misspoke just a minute ago. I said Odysseus is the main character. Sid, who actually is the main character in this movie? Just one main character, if you had to pick.
But I think it's Odysseus.
Okay. Well, that's wrong. The main character in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is actually the sound. The movie opens up with a staff banging on the ground and some bard shouting some rap, and it's extremely loud. The volume in this movie is so loud, dialed up to 11. The subwoofer in this movie is dialed up to 11, so much bass. It never lets up for the entire movie. And it's not just that these are loud sounds, these are very frequently sounds that are unpleasant to the ear. Frankly, it took away from my enjoyment of the movie. I found it distracting. Wanted to focus on what's going on in the frame. And I'm just thinking like the sound, wow, why is that loud noise happening? Why can't I just watch this movie? And it was like that for 3 hours. Um, and it's not
Loud
just
noises.
it's loud noises. It's not just the sound mix. I'm criticizing all aspects of the sound.
Mm,
We've mentioned Ludwig Göransson before.
yep.
Um, a favorite composer of ours. He's worked with Ryan Coogler a lot. I think they actually went to school
Sinners.
together
Yes, they
and
did.
all the Black Panther and Creed movies. He
He's
is
done a James Bond movie. Wait, no, has he? No, he hasn't. He hasn't. Take it
he
back.
he did Oppenheimer, which is a beautiful score.
Yeah,
I was just thinking of the Oppenheimer score recently.
it's a great score.
There's I remember seeing this video on it. Maybe Cast would be interested in this. There's something. The main theme of that score has a very unusual time signature,
Mm.
and it was very difficult for the professional um, musicians to keep time for some reason. I don't know enough about music to be able to explain that. But in any event, he also did Mandalorian and Grogu, the theme song I love to The Mandalorian.
Yep.
This score, I felt it missed the mark. I found it to be the sounds to be very discordant and ambient. There's blaring drums throughout. I don't think there's a melody to be found in the entire score. And the instruments, I mean, I know they're not out of tune, but they sound like they're out of tune. didn't find it to be a pleasant score to listen to, and often it gets in the way. It overcrowds the dialogue, and that brings me last to the dialogue. This has been an issue in Christopher Nolan movies for a long time. People complained about the muffled dialogue in his movies. He doesn't like to redub the dialogue after the movie is shot because he thinks it's more authentic to just go with what's recorded initially. It's an artistic choice, but it has its downside, and it rears its ugly head here, and which is unfortunate because a lot of characters are saying terms that you and I are not using every day. These are Greek terms, names of people, names of places, and when you're hearing a word that you don't hear every day, sometimes you can miss it, even if there's no issues.
True.
But when there's, when you have muffled dialogue, the wind, like there's a lot of wind that's getting picked up by the speakers. So it's hard to pick up stuff. Now, fortunately, the story is not really that hard to follow. And I was, fairly familiar with it from reading the Odyssey in high school and just being generally familiar with these Greek myths. But it still did detract from the experience for me. So yeah, I had some issues with the sound in all three of those aspects in this movie. Hated to see it.
So what did you say?
That's funny, Sid.
All right. The sound got to me. I did hear those complaints, Mike. And I wondered because I saw it in 70 millimeter IMAX, like I didn't have the same like it being very loud. It was loud, but I don't know, maybe
But IMAX theaters are so loud. Like I saw Oppenheimer on selling 70 millimeter
yeah.
IMAX, and I remember how loud that movie got during when the bomb exploded.
No, it
And
is a
that's
bomb.
what I
It is a
know,
bomb.
I know, but this movie was like that loud, like the whole movie.
Yeah, but it didn't feel as loud to me as people have complained.
Yeah, I know I'm definitely in the minority on this, but I have heard some people
Yes, no, they
complaining
have.
about this. Yeah, so
I've heard the complaints. It
yeah,
wasn't a big one for me. I do know Christopher Nolan told him like no orchestra this time. Like
yeah.
this is an old time period. Like try to give us some raw instruments and all that
Oh, I'm
stuff.
sure it was I'm sure that was all from Nolan. I don't think Goranson just, he just did
Yes,
this on his own. I'm sure, yeah, it was directed that
but
way.
but no, it is well warranted. I hate to see it that you had. All right, so for me, I'll go next. Did you do two or one technically?
It was
Is it
technically
combo?
it was kind of like a three in one almost.
Three to one. Wow, we got a 3-1 special, Mike.
Yeah.
I like it. So I think I have two of them. So my first one being the last action sequence of the film. So this is the
I have a feeling what you're going to say here. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
no,
you.
no, you can interrupt. I like when we chat with each other.
Yeah.
So the final scene where Odysseus convinces his wife to hold like a challenge. So
Yeah.
and this is spoilers, right? I think it is. Yeah,
Yeah, we're
spoilers.
getting into spoilers here,
Spoilers.
but I was actually sorry to just
No
to go
worries.
on a brief tangent. I was reading a plot summary of the original Odyssey, and I was also reading a plot summary of the movie Ulysses. Ulysses, I think, is the Italian translation of
Mm,
Odysseus. There was a movie from the 50s,
yes. Yep.
and much of the plot is the same. Now, Nolan
Okay.
does make significant changes, but like what you're talking about right now, it's
Yeah.
from it's from the story, so it's not really a spoiler.
Okay. Good point. Thank you for
Yeah.
telling that to our viewers. So at this point, Penelope doesn't know it's her husband. Maybe she kind of like senses it, but she doesn't 100% know. But anyway, they convince her to hold a challenge to finally get her new husband, out of all the suitors. So in this throughout the movie, they talk about how Odysseus is the only one that could, I don't know what the terminology is, but put the string on the bow.
String the bow.
Yeah. So he's the only one that can do it. And I think earlier in the movie they try to have his son, Tom Holland, do it, and obviously he can't because he's a younger kid. But anyway, the challenge is put the string on the bow, shoot the arrow, have it go through all these axes and hit this like wood at the end. If
Right.
you can do it, you're worthy to be my future husband. So all these people, all these suitors, they try, they fail. And where I'm getting at is after it's the beggar's time, because he's pretending to be a beggar. So Odysseus, he finally gets it done. He hits the bow. It's beautiful. The wife finally realizes he's alive, and then she locks the room, locks all the suitors in there, and basically it's like a Jason Bourne action sequence.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing.
So it kind of felt like a imitation of Jason Bourne, right? Like kind of like Quantum of Solace, which had some very Jason Bourne like sequences where they're fighting. I couldn't tell who's fighting who. It was dark, Was it Odysseus? Was it someone else? Like, I didn't know what was going to happen next. Like, this is the final set piece. Like, give us some better lighting. Like, it doesn't have to be like all these. I don't know if they're camera cuts. I don't know what the technical term is, but it was just very challenging for me to find out or figure out what's going on. I mean, it was a cool battle, right? Like, he's killing everyone basically, and then like I see some guy kneel at one point, and the whole time I'm like, oh my God, this guy's like gonna do a sneak attack and kill Odysseus. But what happens is they all start kneeling and they basically bow down to him, and then they win. But yeah, it just felt like a Jason Bourne knockoff, which is kind of fitting because this is Matt Damon.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Sid. The moment when Odysseus what's the term? When he plucks the bow,
Yeah,
signaling that it's him. I mean,
yep,
that's a great moment.
right.
I cheered when that happened. But yeah, I have to agree with you that the action was very hard to follow because it was so much shaky cam, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of it was like off center. Like
Yes.
you would expect it to be like Matt Damon to be in the middle of the frame so you could
Yep.
see his sword. And he's like off to the right or off to the left, and like the action, like he has his back turned to the camera like during crucial scenes, so you can't see what's going on. Yeah, it was that was unfortunate. I agree with you.
And I don't know if this is a hot take, but I feel like Christopher Nolan isn't the best at certain action sequences when it comes to fighting, right?
He has been criticized for that in the past. I think Batman Begins is one
Yes.
where he got that criticism. I think he improved in Dark Knight. He's actually
Yeah.
improved a lot over the
He has
years,
improved.
but it feels like he regressed here.
Yeah, it did.
I
So
don't think he regressed though. I think it's a stylistic choice. I think well, I know it's a style. He's very intentional. He does
he
everything.
is intentional,
It's
but
everything in this movie is exactly the way he wanted it to be.
this is a 3 hour journey for us. Like you want the climax. It was great still, but
Yeah.
I just need that final battle to be great. Another thing I wanted to add. So obviously this movie is like practical effects, which is great. No CGI. But the one thing that really I didn't like was like that like the six-headed snake serpent when
Mm,
he's plucking off the Odysseus's men from the ship.
yeah.
That looked really bad in my
That
opinion.
wasn't CGI.
I thought the whole movie doesn't have CGI.
I don't know if that's true. I'd be
I
curious
think
about
it is.
that because
I think
because people
it
think
is.
that he doesn't use CGI. He likes to use practical when he can, but
Mhm.
he will supplement with like look at Inception. Inception has a ton of CGI in it.
Yeah, but I think this one you're trying to be like very
Yeah.
non-CGI. I could be wrong. I couldn't tell. They look like penises, like
Oh
grabbing
yeah,
the.
they looked weird. Yeah,
Yeah, so I was not happy with that
they
one.
might have been models that he made or something like that. I don't know. It'd be
So
very interesting to see how he made it.
yeah, I was a little disappointed in that. And did you have another hate to see it or no?
You know, I did have one. I decided I'm going to table it because we talked a lot about the action, which I agree with you on, and also I
Yeah,
kind of just want the takeaway for people to be is like really my main issue with this movie is the
the
sound. So
sound.
that's the takeaway.
I had one more issue, Mike, if you don't mind me sharing. So
Yeah.
obviously, this is our podcast. We're
Mm.
trying to grow this podcast. This is a huge movie. I was disappointed that you didn't see this movie in 70 millimeter IMAX. So
I
that
didn't
was
want
a
to go
hate
to
to
New
see
York.
it.
Well, first of all, the tickets sold out like right away. I had no chance of getting them, I had to. I really didn't have a choice.
Yeah, but I really hated to see it.
Yeah.
It was quite it was amazing seeing it in IMAX, by the way.
Okay.
All right, let's transition on.
Love to see it. I guess I should kick it off since you were
Kick it
just talking a
off.
lot. I want to highlight a few acting performances in this movie.
Sure.
I think there were a number of very strong acting performances, but I want to highlight three of them. Samantha Morton, I had to look up the name of this actress. I did not recognize her. And when I looked up her Wikipedia page, I realized she's in one of my favorite movies of all time, Minority Report.
Oh, you
Uh,
love that movie.
she plays Agatha, the female precog.
Ah,
Do you know what I'm talking
yes, I
about?
do.
And in
I
this
do.
movie, she plays Cersei the witch.
Yep, The Witch.
She looks different, but uh, it was a very creepy, very disturbing performance. It's
One of the highlights.
one of the highlights of the movie. Very disturbing, that whole scene.
Oh, for sure.
Very memorable, and she did a great job.
Has she been in anything else? I'm sure she
She
has.
has. I just don't know what else she's been in. She really
Yeah,
just has not been on my radar basically in 25 years.
me either. But yeah,
Glad she's still working because that was
yep,
great.
it was.
The other one I want to highlight is Tom Holland as Telemachus. Tom Holland is an actor that, I don't dislike him, but he's not one of my favorites. I don't really love his performances outside of the Spider-Man movies. I can't really think of one where I really liked his performance outside of Spider-Man, and I liked him a lot in this movie. I thought he did a really good job. He showed a different side. He showed more
Hmm.
range than I've seen from him. So props to Tom Holland. I didn't know you had it in you. And the other one I
And
want to
sorry to
highlight.
interrupt, this could be a turning point for him, right? Obviously, he's got the big blockbuster with
Yeah,
Spider-Man, but now that he could, you know, when you have a superhero role, you kind of want to like get these other roles that show your range, so you can get other different roles. And I think this will help him get future roles.
and the other one I want to highlight is John Leguizamo. I was not expecting this performance out of him. I forgot that's one of the characters I definitely forget his name, but he's basically one of Odysseus's only allies remaining, along with his wife and his son, in Ithaca while he's gone for all these years. And he's blind. He's a blind guy, and I didn't know he had it in him either. Like it was a very memorable performance. So, and there are a lot of other
Oh, for
actors that I
sure.
could shout out, but I wanted to highlight those three.
Great three to highlight. I think he's very underrated, but definitely this one was one of his top roles probably of his career.
Yeah.
Though he was in Mario, right? The Mario movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
another classic. Alrighty. So my first love to see it is going to be Odyssey, which is the title of this movie. But what I'm really
Yep.
talking about is like it's the journey, the adventure, right? Because this film was filled with a lot of challenges, a lot of hardship, and it really was an odyssey for me. Because you alluded to this too earlier. I bought these tickets a year ago. So it's been a long journey to even get to this point of seeing this film. I was constantly reminded every time I open up my iPhone that I have a ticket for this movie. So the hype was like to the next level. And then I got a 70 millimeter IMAX, as I talked about earlier. So I had to drive to Irvine, which is an hour drive. So that's a journey. And also to make the journey even more difficult, I have to like realign my tires in my car. So if I go over like 70 miles or 65 miles per hour, my car starts shaking a lot.
Nah.
So this week I'm getting it fixed. But it was a journey to get there. I had to go slow. It was, you know, it was nerve-wracking. But I finally made it. I finally made it. I was able to see the film and just going through this whole journey with the characters. And not only the characters, like the actors in this film went through a journey. Like it was an odyssey for him. Like if you watch all the interviews, they talk about how this is one of the most demanding films they've ever recorded in their life. And you could feel it. You could feel this was not an easy film to make. Obviously, you have a lot of elements like the weather, right? They're drowning. You had one action sequence. Well, it's not an action sequence, but you have this one sequence where all these people are dead, right? So dead characters, and they all like under the ground and they come up, they rise from the ground. I don't know if you heard about this or not. They had to use straws and like snorkels to actually like they were actually under the ground. So in
That's
order to
crazy.
breed, so like it was a toll. So it was a journey for everyone. Myself getting there, for the actors to play this role, for the characters, just watching this whole journey with what's his name, Matt Damon, this 10-year plus journey. Even the journey for his wife, like for 20 years fighting off all these suitors. So yeah, it really truly was an odyssey. And when I left, like, and I got home last night, I just felt like I went through a really big journey myself.
Awesome. I mean, it is certainly a fitting title for the movie.
For
No
sure,
question, no
100%.
question
And
about
that's what I
that.
mean. If you call something Odyssey, like he nailed it. Like he really made it feel like this journey where there's going to be challenge every corner you have to overcome. But yeah, it was great.
Awesome. Okay. My second love to see it is the cinematography in this movie, which I found to be gorgeous. Now, I mentioned I did not see this on an IMAX screen. I did not see this on a Dolby Cinema screen. I saw this on a standard AMC laser 4K screen. Now, this is a modern screen. It's a very high quality screen. It's a large screen. Um, but it's not an IMAX, certainly not an IMAX screen. I was so impressed with the transfer from the IMAX to traditional digital 4K. Um, I personally did not feel that I lost anything. I know I did. Okay, I know that, but I didn't feel like I was missing out in the on the visual side of things. It is the most beautiful film I've ever seen in terms of the print, just the colors
Sure.
pop. It felt like I'm seeing it felt like it felt like I got a new glasses prescription and I'm seeing things that I have never seen before. So I mean that is a tremendous accomplishment. I think this movie's going to win some awards, but I think perhaps like the slam dunk award that it's going to win is the cinematography because
It
I think
has to, right?
it's revolutionary what they did for this movie. So yeah, that was definitely a love to see it.
I can't find the answer, but I think technically this might be the only film to be completely filmed in the IMAX 70 millimeter format.
It's the only one where they used a 70 millimeter IMAX camera for
Camera.
every shot. Yeah.
Yeah, we could talk about that whole thing, that whole process for like just the whole episode itself. Like quite the undertaking and quite the achievement to really pull it off.
Yeah.
You talk
Um,
about, yeah, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say you talk about three characters, one other character or actor. It's the same thing, right, in a sense. But one actor who you didn't mention was Anne Hathaway.
Oh, she was great too. Yeah.
She was great, and she really had that's the one thing I want to say. I love to see it because you could tell it might have been challenging for her because she's always behind. I don't know how to describe it. She's always behind something when she's talking to these characters, right?
Yeah.
And so you can't really. I mean, yes, you could see them. I imagine she could see them, but there's going to be an element of challenge to act in front of someone that you can't see 100%. So I imagine that was very difficult for her, but she pulled it off. Like, go ahead. You were going to say something?
You just reminded me of something, so I'll table it until you finish talking.
But yeah, I thought her performance was phenomenal. One of the best performances in her career, especially the last scene when she's talking to Odysseus before she even knows it's her husband. I think she kind of senses it, but she's still trying to figure it out. Like that, the acting between those two was just a really touching moment. Like that really was a great way to like kind of wrap up the film.
So I wanted to ask you about that exact scene where she's behind this like
It's like doors or some shit.
latticed wall or
Yeah,
checkered like
checked it. Yep.
wall. You could see her through it. And then Odysseus he's got sort of his back and the side of his face toward her.
Yep.
And like behind him is more of that checkered wall, or I guess,
Yeah.
to the left of the frame. And it was like flickering for me. Like it
Oh, really?
looked really weird. And I'm wondering that's probably that might have been an issue with the transfer actually from
Transfer.
IMAX. So I don't know if you noticed that at
No,
all.
I didn't notice that, but
Yeah, it might have just been something my eye was drawn to. That was the only maybe flaw that I noticed in the image quality. It was
mhm.
just not an issue really. It's just something that stood out to me.
And they've talked about like filming with these IMAX cameras is also very challenging
Hmm.
because you can't really see the actors you're speaking to or the people you're speaking to. So that's one element. Being behind this thing is another element. So just shout out and kudos to Anne Hathaway for putting on a great performance, in my opinion.
Yeah, she did a great job. Okay. I think we both gave our love to see it.
We sure did.
Did you have a what if for
Yeah, I
this?
do actually have a what if.
All right, why don't we jump into what if, the segment where we kind of just get to talk about what if certain things about the movie are different, what if other stuff. It's a very open-ended discussion that we can have here.
Well said. Thank you for kicking off. So Matt Damon, right? So recently he's known as the actor who's always away from home and trying to get to home.
Oh, I've seen the memes, right?
Yeah, so many memes, hilarious stuff. I think the first one is Interstellar.
No,
No, there might be even some before that. Wow.
Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, you're right. That's yeah. Saving Private Ryan, all
Yeah,
time
yeah,
trying to get home. Then there might be some other ones, but then the next big one is Interstellar.
yeah.
Then
The
you have The
Martian.
Martian.
Yeah.
Now you have Odyssey. So like it's like how long can they keep on doing this, right?
Hmm.
But what if they did a reverse? What if they did a film where he's trying to get away from home?
Well, that's kind of the ending of this movie.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I mean they leave, spoiler alert, but they leave.
Yeah,
But most of the journey was trying to get home.
yeah,
But I'm saying, what if they do a full film? Well, he's actually trying to get away from home. So the complete 180, complete reverse of this. And I'm thinking about like what genre could you do this? Like what would like prevent someone from leaving their home? So I'm thinking like a horror film. Like it'd have to be some horror element that's preventing him from leaving.
hmm
And Christopher Nolan has actually talked about how he loves horror films. I don't know if he
yeah.
loves, but he likes horror films. And he's never really done a horror film.
Well, I
But
honestly consider this movie to be a horror film. At
and
least
I was gonna
the middle portion of
yes.
this movie is a
So I was
horror
gonna talk
film.
about that. So he's done films that have had elements of horror films.
Yeah, there's a lot
Um,
of horror in this movie.
Batman Begins with Scarecrow horror.
Yeah, that's not nearly as scary as this.
No, this was
Yeah,
next level. But yeah, you could tell there's elements of horror
yeah,
with
for
the
sure,
Scarecrow.
for sure.
And then, like you said, this film, a lot of horror elements. You have the freaking Cyclops eating people, like
Yeah,
Odysseus' men.
the
So
witch molding people into
oh
pigs. It's
yes,
like the
yeah.
creepiest thing I've ever seen.
So you're talking about that actress earlier. I forget her
Yeah,
name,
Samantha
but yeah.
Morton. Yeah,
So just I don't get too much into it, but like she's feeding Odysseus people, and then she's a witch. She turns them into pigs. Really gruesome stuff. And then they said there's no CGI in that. So John Leguizamo,
really?
yeah, said he found out there was no CGI and his mind was blown. He said, "What? There's no CGI for that?" So I don't know how the hell they pull that off, but they did. But anyway, what I'm trying to say, what if Christopher Nolan finally does a horror film with Matt Damon when he's trying to get away from home?
Okay, that's an interesting idea. What do you think would be the impetus for him trying? I mean, would it be like an outbreak of some kind of zombies or something like that? Or
See, I wasn't thinking about zombies, but that could also work. I was thinking more so like a ghost entity in the house that's preventing him from leaving. Maybe like it's an older film where like his he wasn't supposed to be born, but the parents like prayed to some devil or something, and then they finally have the son, and now like this devil claims Matt Damon for himself and like prevents him from leaving or something like that. But anyway, Christopher Nolan, if you're watching this video, Matt Damon, if you're watching this video, our review, get it done.
all right, that's interesting. I personally I don't think I want to see Christopher Nolan go in that direction. I'd like to see him do something different. But yeah, I could see him doing a good job of that for sure.
And if not him, someone else.
Yeah, and
There's money in that, right? You can make
there's
fun of
always
the
money in the
memes.
banana stand.
This sure is. All right, Mike.
I don't have a what if. I was trying to
No
think of one
worries.
off the fly, but I don't think I really have one.
All good.
All right, so that brings us to it. The verdict.
Final verdict. You want to go first? Kick it off, Mike?
I'd prefer you to go first if you don't mind.
All right, cool. Let me get my breath back.
I
Whew.
know, yeah.
So here we go. So I don't know, it's not an opinion, but I feel like Christopher Nolan is getting into these trilogies. And some people might disagree with me. So in my opinion, you had the first trilogies, which were like psychological thrillers. You had Memento was first. You had what was the other one? Insomnia,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had the one with Bowie, The Prestige.
Prestige, yeah.
So even though they're not connected, they're all kind of psychological thrillers in my sense. So I think that was the first trilogy. And then the easy one, obviously, it's the Batman trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And then not finally, but next, then you have like the science fiction action trilogy with Inception, Interstellar, and Tenet.
Yeah.
And then now you have the O trilogy, which I'm calling it.
The what trilogy?
O.
Okay.
So you have Oppenheimer
Mm-hmm.
and now the Odyssey. So I'm like, is he gonna do a third O movie? So truthfully, Mike, when Oppenheimer was announced, and I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot and got those awake now. But when Oppenheimer was announced, I was like, I don't need Oppenheimer. Like Christopher Nolan's like one of the goats. Like, what is he gonna do with Oppenheimer? Like, that's not a story I really care about.
Mm.
And boy, was I proven wrong. Like, he finally crossed the finish line. He won Best Director, right? I'm pretty sure he
Yeah.
won Best Director.
Best picture too. Yeah.
Yep. And then they announced the Odyssey. I'm like, oh my God, this story's been told for thousands of years. Do I really need Christopher Nolan doing the Odyssey? I was disappointed with Oppenheimer, but he changed my mind. I don't need the Odyssey. Boy, was I wrong again. So he really came through again. And it's really hard to give a perfect score, but in my opinion, this is a 5 out of 5 for me. And to me, you could be 5 out of 5, but you could have some flaws. I'm okay with giving something 5 out of 5. But again, I talk about this journey. It really felt like an Odyssey to me. Like he really executed that portion of the movie. Just like every time something that go to a next level, something would be in the other corner to make their lives difficult. So yeah, it was just. I really enjoyed watching this film. I loved watching this film. Like I told you via text, I'm going to see this film again on Sunday, not in IMAX. But the whole experience, Mike, of seeing this film in 70 millimeter IMAX was amazing, was breathtaking. I couldn't believe I was there. I was so excited throughout the whole film. I was taking it all in, this humongous screen. It was something to observe. And if you have the time, Mike, I highly recommend find tickets for September, late August. Go see this in IMAX. All our viewers, yes, if you have to go see it right away, which I think you should, and it's not IMAX, go do that. But then also go see the 70 millimeter IMAX. Do yourself a service. Yeah, I mean, again, it was not easy for him to shoot this film, right? Because it's the only film to ever have this technology done and make this happen. So it was quite the achievement of Christopher Nolan. I really think he's going to win Best Director once again. So two movies in a row for him, Best Director. I could see it happening. Matt Damon, I could see really well. I could see him win the Best Actor, right? This movie might be nominated for 12, 14 Oscar nominations.
I'm sure it's going to get its fair share of nominations. So you truly love to see it.
I truly love to see it. 5 stars. Like I said, it was a journey to get there for me, journey to come back home, and I truly love to see it. Sorry, I keep talking about this journey, right? And a lot of times when you go see a film, as we know it, the journey, the beginning, the second chapter, the second act, the first act are great, but the conclusions can be kind of weak. This did not have a weak conclusion. Like I really bought the journey all these characters went through. I felt like they all had like very satisfying conclusions. And a couple things that really stood out to me was when Odysseus finally is home and he finally sees his dog again, his hunting dog after 20 years. Because that dog went through its own journey as well, in a sense, right? Having its master, the master being gone, getting mistreated by some asshole suitors, but finally Odysseus shows up. The dog instantly recognizes Odysseus. And then the dog, you could see, wags his tail and then passes away. And that's the moment where Telemachus, whatever his name is, finally realizes it's his dad. Like that was a really touching moment for me. And then the journey of Odysseus and his wife, because you mentioned this earlier, but in the beginning of not specifically this, but you talked about it in the beginning of the film. Penelope tells Odysseus, like, why don't we just run away? Why don't we just get away, right? Leave home and flee. And then when she thought her husband's finally back and he's potentially dying, and he's like, no, we're gonna leave. We're gonna do what you suggested back in the day. So seeing their journey conclude of them going away, and then obviously with Tom Holland finally becoming the king, seeing his character arc being this kind of weakish person, but have to fight off all these suitors and all this stuff throughout the film. So seeing his arc was very beautiful the way that concluded. So I really bought the journey that all these major characters, even the minor characters, went through this film. I think it's a common theme of this film. They all went through their Odyssey in one way or another, and that's what led me to give this 5-star review.
Well, I mean, that's why the Odyssey, it's just been a story that has captivated people for thousands of years. People keep coming back to it.
Well,
Is this the second 5-star review you've given on the channel?
I was thinking that. I felt like it was my first because we didn't
Did you not
review.
give Hail Mary a 5-star?
I don't remember. I'd have to check. I'll check in a second while you're talking. But we
Yeah.
didn't review this film. But if we did review this film, this would have been a 5-star for last year.
Okay.
So you go ahead.
You don't have to check. Yeah, it's time for my verdict. Imagine, Sid, that you're looking out over the Grand Canyon, or imagine you're on a sandy beach looking out at the sun set behind the ocean. Imagine whatever it is that is the most beautiful visual you can possibly think of. And then imagine some asshole comes up to you and stands right beside you and starts screaming for 3 hours. That was my experience watching the Odyssey. I found the audio in this movie to be a complete and total affront to the senses. It was too loud, too bass heavy. The sounds were unpleasant, so even if they lowered the volume, they still would have been unpleasant. I found the score to be unmelodic and discordant and grating on the ears, and Nolan's familiar grating, or not grating, a familiar muffled dialogue. It rears its ugly head. And I am sad to report that this is the first time I've ever watched a movie where the sound has ruined the experience for me. And here's what I think happened with this movie. I think Christopher Nolan, he won his Oscar, deservedly so, for Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer is one of my favorite movies in recent memory. And I think he said, well, now that I finally won my award, now I can make movies the way I want to make them without compromise. I don't know if you remember this, but back when The Dark Knight Rises was about to come out, there was a trailer, and Bane was in the trailer, and people were complaining like, what the heck is Bane saying? No one could understand what he was saying, and he actually addressed that. And instead of understanding 0% of what Bane says in the final cut of the movie, you can understand about 60% of it. So he compromised there. He fixed the dialogue. But with this movie, he got his award, he got his bag, and he says, "I know how to make movies better than anyone else." And look, I mean, there's merit to that argument. He's still my favorite filmmaker. I think he's brilliant. But I think it reminds me of this meme from an old episode of The Simpsons, where Principal Skinner says, "Am I out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong." That's how Christopher Nolan feels. He thinks he knows what's best. He knows he is the GOAT. He thinks he knows how to make movies better than anyone else, and his way is the right way. The problem with that is there have been certain things that Nolan has done throughout his career that people have complained about. He has certain idiosyncrasies when it comes to sound. This is not a new issue that is cropping up out of the blue. He has certain idiosyncrasies when it comes to action. We talked about that. I didn't even anticipate talking about that, but that's another one of his things. And he decided to double down on things like that in this movie. He was counting on the cults of personality surrounding him to bring this movie to acclaim and box office success. And look, he was right about that. His gamble paid off. I am in the minority here, but I think Christopher Nolan was counting on people to sniff his farts and tell the world that they smell like roses. Well, I am not one of those people. I can sadly report that the Odyssey is a foul, smelly, noxious fart. I truly hated to hear it, and I give it 1 star.
That is such bullshit. 1 star. Get the hell out of here.
I hated this movie, Sid, and I never want to see it again.
That is unbelievable. I don't know if I buy it. I don't know if I buy it.
I'm telling the truth.
Maybe you just saw it in a shitty theater.
I was thinking about that, Sid. The theater I saw it in is it's a modern theater. It's got good speakers, and I've done a little research. I'm not the only one. There have been people complaining about the sound in this movie, and not just on regular screens. They've been complaining about it on Dolby Cinema. They've been complaining about it on IMAX. So I was particularly sensitive to it. I think you're going to start hearing more about it, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, the reviews don't say that.
Like I said, there's people are a bunch of fart sniffers.
I don't know about that. That's completely out of left field, Mike. I don't know if I agree. Because it's interesting perspective from you. Like, can sound really take someone out of a film?
It distracted me so much. It's like I just wanted to enjoy the film. I wanted to appreciate what's going on. It's like, and there's something like clanging, like Travis Scott clanging his staff on the ground. It's like, shut the fuck up. I just want to watch the movie. There was rarely a moment where I was not thinking about what my ears were hearing. It honestly angered me.
So one thing I'll say is people always think visual is king, right? You want to get a great TV, 4K, all this stuff, the best TV. I don't have it now, but back in the day, I used to have this really good surround sound system.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, the surround sound system makes a bigger difference than the visuals.
It can, for sure.
Yeah, like it's very underrated. So I get it, but to give something 1 star because the sound isn't to your liking, that kind of seems unreasonable.
Ruined the experience for me.
Yeah, that's something that should take its score down by a half. That's like saying I was gonna give this a 5, but I'm gonna give it a 4.5 because the sound isn't great.
But that's why I said it was the star of the movie. It always was making itself present. You could never just tune it out and watch the movie. That was my experience.
That's all right. You're entitled to your experience. At the end of the day, I hated that you didn't see this in 70mm IMAX. I know you didn't get the tickets in time.
Well, if I do that, then I'm going to go deaf because I know how loud those theaters are.
No, but I didn't get that experience. It was loud, but it was not annoyingly loud. So do yourself a service, Mike. Go see this because it is a 5-star review. So I am appalled what I'm hearing from you. Your sound is really At
I'm
first,
never seeing this movie again. Honestly, it's just the way the movie was so dreary and dreadful for like 2.5 hours of its run, and I wasn't really. Look, the ending is solid. Once Odysseus and Telemachus meet up, I was on board with the ending. I'd give the ending like a B, but it's still even at that point, the sound is still being annoying, and the action, as we talked about, that's when the worst action sequences take place. So yeah, I
yes.
mean, the movie has a good ending, but it still has its problems there. So it's not enough. It was not enough to overcome this
Yeah, but to
major
go.
issue for me with
Yeah,
the
but
sound.
you went from me giving it a 5 to you giving it a 1. You give it a 1?
I give it a 1, Sid. It took me totally out of the movie. It ruined it for me.
You might have to wear earplugs.
I don't think so, Sid. I don't have tinnitus or anything like that.
Well,
I'm
maybe you
not.
do actually. You should get tested.
No, I'm pretty sure I don't.
No, because you've
Because
complained about sound before. So this is interesting. You
well,
should check
sound is
out
something I love. Sound. It's something I pay attention to. It's one of the most important parts of the experience for me.
it is, but maybe you do have something. Check out
No.
that movie Tuner, which I loved.
Okay.
You might actually love that. No, but it's a fair take, Mike. I won't hate it. I'm just really surprised.
I caught you off guard there, right?
You caught me off guard big time.
I don't think
Big time.
we've definitely never been this far apart. Four
No,
stars
it's
apart.
it's huge. But that's why I think you should go check it out in IMAX one day. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. It is what it
You know what I
is.
might do, Sid? Here's what I think I might do. I'll go to my local AMC. Maybe when I'm seeing the next movie we see, maybe Spider-Man or whatever,
Yeah.
and maybe after I see the movie, I'll go get another AMC A-list ticket for Odyssey for their IMAX or
Because you have the
maybe
free one, right?
yeah, because I have the free one. I'll just and
Yeah.
if it sounds horrible again, then
Yeah,
I'll
you just
leave.
leave.
But if it's good, then I'll stay. Maybe I'll
Well,
do
the
that.
beginning does sound pretty bad with the loud, like the
Yeah,
bars.
it was
Yeah.
so annoying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was loud,
Yeah.
for sure. But it improves, I think. All
Mhm.
right, you're entitled to your opinion. This was a good conversation, I thought. Looking forward to see what our viewers have to say about this film.
And yeah, me too. I mean, this is we want to see your comments on this because I know, look, I like being a contrarian. I'm a contrarian at heart. It's one of the reasons I decided to become a lawyer because I like arguing, I like debating with people, and I like debating movies with people. So I don't have a problem being in the minority. It doesn't bother me. Come at me. Tell me that I'm crazy. I have no problem with it. I encourage it.
And
Uh,
and what I'm trying to say is, I think it just your score was completely like it was too drastic of a change of the sound.
I hear what you're saying, but I stand by my
At
decision.
first, I thought you were going to say because I could. And when you told me I was interrupting you because I couldn't hear what you were saying, you started yelling. Were you cursing? I didn't know what you were
No,
doing
I
at
was not
first.
cursing.
That-
Oh, I did scream. Like I made like an annoying noise.
oh,
That was just as an example.
I think the Zoom cut it off for a second, so I couldn't hear it. I thought you were going to say you had a person in front of you who was chanting the whole time during the
Oh,
3 hours. It's like, what? What
no,
happened?
no.
Uh,
I hope the audio didn't cut off.
yeah,
Um,
but you will find out when you replay it. So that's why I was questioning it. But anyways, that was a long episode, as it should be. It was a three
yeah.
hour Odyssey.
And why don't we just briefly preview our next episode?
Yeah, this is one that is delayed, but I'm excited we're doing this because I'm surprised you saw this film.
Yeah.
Obsession.
It's the Obsession, the surprise hit of the year. It came out a couple months ago. It's now on streaming. You can watch it on Peacock. And we're finally going to talk about it. But I think it's a good time to talk about it because a lot of people are seeing it now for the first time now that it's available at home.
Yeah, made like $400 million. Pretty awesome.
Yep. All right. So
Alrighty.
that's next week.
That is
Sid,
next week.
I'm sorry that we disagreed on this one, but it was still a fun movie to talk about. I mean, it's a Christopher Nolan movie. These are events, so
They
there's a
sure
lot
are.
there's a lot to discuss.
Well, I'm sad the sound really bothered you.
I hated to hear it.
All right.
All right,
I'd love to
guys.
see it. See you.
Tune in next time. Thanks.
Bye.